I survived for 100 days in hardcore Minecraft, just like everybody else on YouTube. What is going on, guys? My name is Dpurdd, and welcome to my rendition of 100 Days. Originally done by Luke the Notable, this style of video has spawned many copycats, and alas, here is one more. Before I get started, if you enjoy, please like the video and subscribe. A ton of work has went into this. Day 1, I spawned in at the very edge of a forest next to an ocean. It was kinda cool. One of the first things I spotted was this sunken ship and decided that after collecting a little bit of wood and crafting a few basic tools that I would go check it out. The loot was good. Iron, gold, lapis, an emerald, a diamond. Definitely a good find for day 1. After securing the first bag, I went and grabbed the other one. And this one had arguably more important loot. Things such as carrots, wheat, and potatoes. After all, I wasn't going to survive off of emeralds and diamonds on day number 1. I ascended and took toward land. Once I touched down, I made my first chest, stored my valuables, and ate a couple potatoes to restore my health. I then went ahead and made a hoe and put that hoe to work, tilling land and planting crops. I had to search for a few wheat seeds, but once I planted them, I was given the seedy place advancement. From that point, I chopped a couple more trees, found a few pumpkins, and found some stone. I made my way back to spawn with the stone and went to work clearing more land. I decided to work on the beginning of a tunnel that was going to take me down to diamonds, and in the process, I found coal. The coal was almost immediately used to make torches and light up the surrounding area to deter mob spawns. The last thing I want to do is lose 6 minutes of progress. From this point, the sun was setting, so I decided to bunker into the tunnel I had started and work on that for the night. No sheep equals no sleep. The night was uneventful. I was rewarded with coal and a little iron, and I made a chest plate. That was cool. By the end of my mining adventure, I took to the surface and the sun was rising. It was the start of a new day. I began day 2 by gathering wood and using some of the iron I had to make a pair of boots. I then put that filthy hoe to work again, tilling more land. This farm is very ugly and in no ways is it permanent, but you know what they say.
A big boy's gotta eat!
And speaking of which, there is no way I'm only eating greens. If I'm out here for 100 days or more, I'm gonna need some good protein. So I built a small pen and coaxed a few cows into it. But eating red meat and red meat only isn't very healthy. So I went and coaxed a couple chickens back as well. The chickens didn't come as gracefully as the cows did, and it began raining in the process, but mission accomplished. From this point, I went back into my tunnel for another night of mining. From the night of day 2 to the middle of the day on day 4, I spent mining. I made an iron pick and ended up finding 2 chunky veins of diamonds right near each other, along with a good amount of coal, iron, gold, redstone, and lapis. All in all, it was an alright use of time. I spent the rest of day 4 going out and hunting down sheep. I just needed wool to make a bed, and I found them, but considering how far I searched for these sheep, I think it'd be a good idea to wrangle a few of them up and bring them back to make a sheep farm sooner than later. When I got back to camp, I took to clearing some land and reshaping the cow pen. Before long, night was here though, but this time I had a bed to sleep in. Day 5, I woke up fresh as a spring chicken and built a similarly shaped sheep farm directly next to my cow farm. I wanted a sufficient amount of space to breed these things, regardless if this was all temporary. I then went out in search of sheep to fill this farm. I only found one at first, but in hindsight, this may have been a good look. The road back was rocky, so I had the ingenious idea to build a boat and bring this man back to my camp by sea. You see, only 2 people or animals could fit in a boat at a time, so if I had found 2, I'd be leaving his buddy behind. While I was out here looking for sheep, I also managed to grab a little sugar cane so I could begin growing that as well. Directly after securing my first wool factory, I went out and found another one on a nearby island. 2 sheep means infinite sheep, and with that, day number 5 came to an end. Day 6 started out fairly uneventful. It was raining, but I tried to make the most of it. I went out, did a little farming, collected resources, got attacked, and killed my first mob in the series. At this point, I had a full set of iron gear though, which wasn't anything to write home about, but I felt okay against the single skeleton. In any case, this spawned the idea of building a base. Not only did I want to get my gear protected and myself protected, but I wanted a safe haven. A place that was cozy, a place that was very well defended, and a place that has essentially everything that I'm going to need to survive these 100 days or more. I began work on an underground base in the tunnel that takes us down to diamonds, and essentially worked on this for the next 3 days. Between days 6 and 9, I began digging out the beginning of my base, placed flooring, got the place lit up, placed a small wall of furnaces, and relocated my chests on the surface to the underground bunker. In addition, I did some more farming, and I mean, really did some more farming. I fed my animals and did some aesthetic work on a path. It's not great, but it's better than nothing. Actually, nothing might have been better. From the night of day 9 to day 12, I primarily worked on a new branch of the base. This was going to be the farm. After a few days, I have the foundation of what it will be. My plan is to elongate this and tuck the water sources somewhere out of sight. This is kinda ugly. I'm also going to line all of the outside walls with an automatic sugarcane farm once I have the components for it. For now, I'm pretty broke, so it remains manual. The rest of day 12, I decided that I wanted obsidian. Here's a clip of me crafting a diamond pickaxe earlier on in the day to proceed with this task. I'm not sure why I just didn't show it all in order. I found lava and ended up turning it into obsidian, and then had the pleasure of collecting most of it. Around 30 pieces. Let me tell you, this was like watching paint dry. Maybe worse. Anyway, with the obsidian in hand, I went back toward the base and took a look around for a good spot to place the nether portal. I'm not going to be doing too much in the nether until I'm well equipped for it, but I do want to get everything laid out. I decided to put the portal down right here across from the entrance to my base. I'm happy with the outcome. Shortly after making the portal, this dude came through trying to claim some free real estate. Meh. I'll deal with you later. My curiosity got the best of me, and after crafting a diamond sword and gold boots for precaution, I decided to step into the nether just to see the spawn I was given. Honestly, I wasn't disappointed at all. A crimson forest means I'm not going to get any gas spawning in my immediate vicinity, and I'll have access to endermen whenever I need them. I quickly barricaded my portal and decided to head home. It was time to deal with the trespasser. Easy enough. I also built a fence and fence gate to prevent that from happening again. Because of all the obsidian that I had collected earlier, I was able to make this enchantment table as well. Day 12 kind of faded into day 13, and the rest of it was a fairly uneventful one. I did some farming, fed some animals, and gathered wood. Nothing cool. Day 14, I set out in search of a bee's nest. I wanted to bring it back. For no good reason. I have no plans for it yet, I just want it. Unfortunately, I forgot that silk touch was required and ended up ruining the bee's nest. That's alright. I have a plan to make it happen without silk touch. I just feel bad for the bees that lost their home in the process. The rest of the day was spent getting the outside of the place a little more bee friendly. Overnight and into day 15, I worked on making another room in the base. This was going to be my villager breeding area and trading hall. The rest of day 15, I still had a bitter taste in my mouth over that bee's nest. Initially, I was going to enchant until I got silk touch, and then I remembered how much more efficient librarian villagers are. But then I realized I didn't even need enchantments at all. Quite the roller coaster. Regardless, I like the idea of librarian villagers, and with that room roughly shaped out, I was nearly ready to head out and scout a village. Day 16 and I was back on the bee hunt, but instead of going out in search of them, we were going to bring them to me. I got to work dousing the area in flowers and saplings, and before long I had a bee's nest. I was hyped. Now I just needed 2 bees and I could make life happen. The rest of days 16 through 18 were spent working on aesthetics. I worked on my base, generally the entrance and the future villager room. Nothing looks great, it's all still under construction, but I think I got a pretty good foundation set up. Days 19 and 20 were spent mining. I was looking for diamonds, but I didn't find any. Instead, I gathered gold, iron, lapis, redstone, and coal, pretty much everything else. I wanted diamonds to make armor for the adventure that I was about to go on, but that didn't happen. Day 21, I set sail. I wanted to, at bare minimum, locate a village. Ideally, though, I wanted to map out a strategy for getting the villagers back to base. I made my way towards the ship I found on day 1, and I just kept going. In view, I spotted a desert temple and a sunken ship. I hit the ship first, and honestly, the loot was pretty disrespectful. I also looted the temple that I came across. The loot was actually pretty good. At this point, I was torn between heading back or continuing forward just because I didn't have any inventory space, but I ended up moving forward. This was a great decision. I came across the village, the Holy Grail. My only issue was the location of this thing. It was kinda out of the way. In the meantime, I decided to trap a few of these guys in their homes to preserve them. At this point, the day was over, and a new day was soon to be upon us. Day 22, I made my way back toward base and stumbled upon this bad boy. I took the loot, but left the gold block. I'm sure I'll be back for it later. In any case, I made it back home and decided to put one of these saddles to work. I went out in search of a horse, and I had a run-in with some neighborhood kid. I smacked him, and a little later, I got jumped by his cousins. Honestly, I thought I was done for. This left me shook, and I decided to head home and get some sleep. Day 23, I was out bright and early on my mission to get a horse. I swear I see horses all over when I'm not looking for them, but when I am, it's a completely different story. I came across a couple wolves and I was excited. With the bones I have, I was going to come back and make one mine. Anyway, I set back off and ended up coming across this stallion. She's gorgeous. I shall call her Bernice, and together we will roam these lands gracefully. I got her home just to realize that I didn't have any slime for a lead, nor have I received any visits from a wandering trader to steal his. After a quick stop by the base, I came outside to the best case scenario. Bernice fell into my chicken coop. This wasn't winning me any awards with PETA, but at least for the immediate future, she wasn't going to go eloping. I then decided that wolf I found the other day needed to come home tonight. I went out and grabbed it. I don't know if this was the same one. Close enough. I left it behind and thought it was done for. After a roller coaster of emotions, the thing ended up right outside chilling in a boat. This is where you live now, guy. I don't got a name for you yet, but maybe soon. Day 24 was spent primarily collecting wood. I mean, kind of a decent amount, nearly 3 stacks. I then went ahead and spent the next 3 days turning this wood into a barn. As with the rest of the builds this early on, there will be changes, but I think it's better than what I had. And honestly, for a first go at a barn ever, I don't think it looks awful. I went ahead and corralled my sheep, cows, chicken, and Bernice into the barn area. Days 28 through 32 kind of all blended together, so bear with me here. I finished setting up the villagers' room down in the bunker. I know I laid this brick down, but I replaced it with dirt and then planted crops so the villagers could begin breeding. I set sail and made my way back to the village. Once I could get them in the boat at the proper level on the y-axis, it wasn't the worst experience I've ever had. I had to dig this short tunnel, but in reality, I thought this was going to be so much more tedious than it actually was. Yeah, I mean, rowing through the desert wasn't great, but I only had to make the journey twice. Getting these guys into the bunker consisted of me digging out this weird area they could fit into. The plan was to row both of them in just like I did here with the first villager. The second one kinda just walked in though. By the end of day 31, I had both villagers secured in their room. Now I needed beds. I got to work expanding this room lengthwise and before long had a good bedroom area. If I needed to expand the trading hall, I could just move the bedroom down a little, so I thought that this design was pretty cool. Day 32 consisted of trying to get these two to do what grown people do. I tried at first, but right after they failed, I realized the space above the beds wasn't tall enough. After waiting around and a few more carrots later, I finally got magic to happen. The night of day 32 through the night of day 38 were spent primarily on mining. My goal was to get full diamond armor and tools. Honestly, if I didn't get enough for the shovel or hoe, I wouldn't be too disappointed. In the middle of mining, I came back to drop off my haul, make a diamond chest plate because that's all I could afford at the time, and do a little aesthetic work around the outside of the base. I did the aesthetic work just to switch things up so I would not go crazy mining. By nighttime on day 38, I had a good amount of loot and could afford to finish the set of diamond armor and tools, all minus the hoe and shovel, that is, neither of which I'm too hurt about at the moment. I went and checked out the villagers area. This is a full-blown village now, complete with golems and cats. I did a little bit of expansion on it in preparation of more space for beds. I also made this lectern in preparation of setting up librarians. Days 39 through 43 were spent expanding the farm and converting some of these villagers into workers. I knew with all of these librarians I was going to need a good amount of paper for trading, so I lined both walls of the farm with sugarcane. Like I said earlier, this is all currently manual. I'll get to automating it a little bit down the line. I also planted a bunch of pumpkin seeds. I'll make a separate section for melons and cactus down the line. It's just a matter of time. In any case, I got to work getting a few of these fine folk placed into their cells and flipping a few trades. One of the first trades that I got, literally one of the first, was this awesome mending trade for only 12 emeralds. I also got silk touch at a good rate, but didn't want to spend too much time on this at this point. Day 44 was spent making a trip to the Nether. With diamond gear, I was ready to check it out. My goal was to find a fortress. I was hoping I wouldn't have to travel too far, but I ended up having to tunnel a decent amount just to find anything at all. My spawn was right over this massive lava ocean, so that didn't help. I'm making my tunnel 3 blocks wide to future-proof in case I want to bring a panda back. I ended up finding a piglin, but I didn't bring any gold to trade, so I'm gonna have to come back. Days 45 through 58 were spent clearing a bit of land and working on an iron farm. If you think about all the work that went into this thing, from basic construction, transporting villagers, gathering zombies, dealing with other mobs, and overall trying not to make it look like complete trash, all while needing to sleep for a few nights, I don't think it took too long. Plus the reward for those last 13 days is infinite iron. I'm okay with that time investment. I want to note that this iron farm is not my design, this is Waddle's design. I ended up having a run-in with a wandering trader at some point in the middle of building this. His loot was not good. I punished him with death and decided his llamas were mine. The morning of day 59 was spent making a toolsmith and a weaponsmith down in the village area. They both trade for iron, and with this infinite supply of the stuff, why not? Their master trades may also come in handy down the line as well. The rest of day 59 through day 69 were spent waiting for iron golems to die, feeding and killing my cows for leather, and flipping trades with villagers until I had what I wanted. I went out at one point to collect iron from my farm, and this happened. By the end of day 69, I had a good chunk of what I wanted. Not nearly everything, but it was a good start. I spent day 70 searching the ocean around my base and came across 2 hoes. Perfect. These nights were getting lonely. The rest of day 70 was spent checking out the villager breeder, collecting iron, and getting ready to hit up the Nether. Nighttime on day 70 through the middle of day 72 were spent on that Nether trip. Kind of. My goal was to find a piglin and trade my gold for goods. I don't really care what I got, I just wanted something more useful than gold. At this point, gold isn't really useful to me. I ended up with some blackstone, crying obsidian, and fire charges, amongst a few other things. It was alright, nothing great. Anyway, this was only my second interaction with piglins in any fashion, and I didn't realize that if I broke any gold in their vicinity, they would try to break me. I took off back toward my portal, kind of expecting them to have despawned, but when I turned around, they were hot on my heels. I ran and hid for a little while. One of them despawned or fell off or something, and the other one ran through my portal and was chilling in my base as a zombified piglin. No threat to me. In any case, I got back home, and in the process of storing my goods, I realized just how badly my chest needed to be organized. I went ahead and organized them. They are much better now. Certainly just temporary, but I'll get to building a permanent storage room when I really need it. The rest of day 72 was pretty anticlimactic. I spent it working on this wall. It's not great defense, but it gives me a little bit of peace of mind. Throughout the night, I completed the wall, lit up the area, and had a run-in with a bunch of zombies and a few phantoms. This was my first run-in with phantoms at all, and honestly, I kinda expected more. I wanted to spend the night killing mobs and lighting the area up so that I could continue to farm golems while being productive. The iron's going to be useful when it comes to automation and trading. Day 73 started out with a little expansion to the farm area. This was just a tiny expansion to get started growing cactus. The rest of this time was spent making another trip to the Nether. I don't know if I was just being spiteful, but I went and mined more gold right near some piglins. They didn't end up chasing me this time. Maybe they learned their lesson. I don't know what that lesson is, but maybe they learned it. I searched around a little bit just to see what the Nether would offer me. I know I said that I liked this spawn, but one with a fortress in closer vicinity would have been nice. I decided I wanted to get the return to sender advancement out of the way, and after coming across a ghast and getting into a little scuffle with probably the worst batting average of all time, it was done. I searched around until the middle of day 75 for a fortress before coming across a hoglin and decided to head home. In the Nether, I ended up gathering some blackstone, glowstone, quartz, basalt, and a few ender pearls. It was cool, but nothing crazy. The rest of day 75 was spent doing a little aesthetic work outside and clearing some trees and terrain that just didn't belong. Day 76, I woke up with a new goal. I wanted to go find snow. I wanted to bring it back to the base and have a renewable source of snow via a snow golem. Snow is poor man's quartz, and I am a poor man. After a couple days of searching the ocean, I didn't find any snow biomes. Maybe I was just looking in the wrong directions. I did find the savannah village, and with it came some melons. When I got home, I got to work expanding the farm and planting the melon seeds. The farm is coming together nicely. With a few days and a little more iron under my belt from the farm, the rest of day 78 was spent converting a couple more villagers into librarians. I had 2 enchantments that I needed. Protection 4 and Unbreaking 3. Protection is going on all my armor and Unbreaking is going on everything. I ended up getting both pretty quickly. I know that I did this in a weird order with mending, but I don't care. If anything, it'll just cost me a few more enchantment levels. I'm still going to need a second set of diamond gear to throw a few enchantments on so I can combine both sets for god gear, but that's looking like a task for 200 days. With most of my armor decked out in protection, I set out for the Nether. The rest of my time up until day 84 was spent mining ancient debris. I started out mining with the TNT that I found in the desert temple whenever that was. When that ran out, I just went and made some beds. This wasn't a smooth process at all. I got hurt quite a bit, but with this armor, I was alright. All in all, I ended day 84 with 10 ancient debris. I'm actually having better luck with ancient debris than I did with diamonds at first. My goal is 36 for an entire set, but I think I'm going to chill with the debris mining for now. I lied. Day 85 through the middle of day 87, I was back at it in the Nether with more beds. I only found 3 more ancient debris, so I decided to actually chill with the mining for now. 13 out of 36 by day 87 though? That's not too bad. Days 88 through 96 were spent turning this house into a home. Here was a walkthrough of it in its entirety. I think it looks pretty good. Some of the walls aren't permanent yet. For example, the sugarcane in the farm is going to be hooked up to redstone components in the near future. It would be pointless to pretty that up now. In between doing aesthetic work, I was also trading with my villagers. The combination of this iron farm and the villagers buying iron was great. I'm going to need more villagers who buy iron in the future. Days 97 through 99, I spent just how I spent the beginning of these 100 days. Mining. Because no man is too good to go mining. I even stumbled upon a few diamonds. With Fortune 3, I was able to turn a few into 8. I did it. Day 100 was here. With a small sense of relief, I decided to use day 100 to feed my animals and reflect on what I've accomplished in these past 100 days. I was able to build a barn and house / breed animals, construct a full set of diamond armor along with 3 out of 5 diamond tools, transport villagers from their motherland to their fatherland, and then build an all-in-one villager breeder and trading hall that also acts as an XP farm until I can craft a designated one. I enchanted my armor and gear with high-tier enchantments. I built an iron farm and essentially obtained wealth, or will be wealthy soon, through emeralds via this farm and my trading hall. And the most important goal, I survived. I still have a bunch of goals to complete, and if you want to see me complete them over the course of 200 days and beyond, please like the video and subscribe. As I said before, an absolute ton of work has went into this video. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.